Hello out there, casual fanatics. Jeremy here with another fun 5e builds. Before we get into the video itself, though, I do have to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I have shaved. I was dressed up as the Ninth Doctor for my office Halloween costume contest, and when I dress up as the Ninth Doctor, I like to make sure that I'm shaved so that I'm more Ninth Doctor and not last vestiges of the War Doctor. So, yeah, it'll grow back. It'll take a while, but it'll grow back. Anyway, since none of you voted to decide which one you wanted to see next, you have left the fate of this show in my hands. Okay then. So I've decided to do one that I've been wanting to do ever since I came up with this concept. Continuing creating characters from Chroma Squad in 5e. And in this case, I'm going to be doing the Scout archetype, Fusion Yellow. It's also kind of a shout out to my favorite Tokusatsu stunt actress slash professional wrestler, and also the only person I know and talk to on a regular basis that fits both of those categories. So let's take a look at what we've got. Alright, her name is going to be Miss Nayoung, and of course she is named after Miss Nayoung, who is very much a standby suit actress for Super Sentai. She's played a lot of Pink Rangers, which makes it all the more ironic that I've got her as a Yellow Ranger. Some of the Pink Rangers that she's been suit actress for include Deca Pink, Kyoryu Pink, and one of my personal favorites, Gokai Pink. She was also stunt actress for Escape in Tokusatsu Sentai Go Busters. So yeah, she's done a lot there. A lot of her characters tend to be the more acrobatic style, which makes it all the more perfect that she's my scout. But aside from that, I've decided to continue my tradition of busting some tropes here. And Fusion Yellow, Miss Nayoung, is also the Lancer of the group. Normally you don't have that from a female Yellow Ranger, but I have done it because that's how I roll. And because, let's face it, Toei and Saban are never going to give it to you. Looking at the stats, you can see that we have, of course, pretty good intelligence and wisdom. Of course, none of them lower than an 11, and yes, I did actually roll these. Of course, there were some cases where I rolled stats like 6s, and I really didn't want that to be the case. It's 6 or lower. I really didn't want those stats to be that low, and I didn't feel like using a standard array. So yeah, I went with the 46 remove one. So I did re-roll if it was like a 6 or lower, because I really didn't want stats that ungodly low. So we have a pretty even spread on the stats. The outlier here, though, is this dexterity. 17 dexterity. And of course, with our base being 6 levels of Technomancer Wizard and 6 levels of Monk, having that high of a dexterity is not out of the ordinary, but it is higher than what you would normally expect. And the reason why it is higher is because I gave her levels in Rogue. 8 levels in Rogue, to be precise. So we have, again, a very high dex build here. And this really suits the Scout's role of get in, kick butt, get out. So let's look at the various different subclasses that I've got here. Of course, Wizard, this particular spreadsheet doesn't have Technomancer available, so I did put it as Artificer, but we're treating her as if she's a Technomancer. Roguish archetype, I went with Thief as opposed to Assassin and Arcane Trickster. The reasoning for that is having a super heroic character be an assassin doesn't really work for Tokusatsu for a superhero show. So I really wanted to play up the more heroic aspects of these characters. So I didn't want to take it in a 90s anti-hero kind of way. And aside from that, Nayoung's a really, really nice person, and I wanted to make sure that I portrayed her character in the best light possible. So I gave her the thief archetype because the thief really enhances the acrobatic abilities of the rogue. And we'll get into that a little later when we talk about the actual feats that the character has. For monk, of course, monastic tradition, again, open hand. Background, again, folk hero, because again, land vehicles being styled as swords. If you have a very permissive DM, which if I were playing a game like this, I would probably try and find ways to make that work, because I like stuff like that. Advancements and feats. This one I went a little bit different with. I went ahead and went one set of ability score improvements. So I gave a nice bonus to dexterity and a nice bonus to intelligence to get some of the base stats rolling. As for feats, I started off with athlete and gave the bonus to dexterity, just to make sure that is got a little extra edge to it. Now with this feat, she can use 5 feet of her movement to stand up, and then the rest to bolt. So nice little bonus there. She doesn't have to spend the whole move action just trying to get up. Climbing doesn't have speed, and it also halves the amount of distance that you need to run in order to make a long jump or high jump. So again, that really gives a boost to the acrobatic aspects of the scout archetype. A little further down, next one that I gave was observant, because I really wanted to give her kind of the situational awareness that a good scout or reconnaissance type would need to have. This also gives a +5 bonus to passive wisdom and passive intelligence for the case of for needing perception checks or intelligence checks. So you have that bonus to your passive to where you're pretty much switched on at all times. And sub-bonus, you can read lips if you understand the language, which is another nice little bonus there. And it'll actually go in line with one of the spells that I gave her, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. Last feat that I gave her is Weapon Master, and I decided to give the bonus to the dexterity stat. And of course, the 4 weapons that I chose are mostly finesse based. The unarmed strike, of course, laser pistol, dagger, and rapier. So she's kind of the secondary sword user to Ellen, who is our leader archetype. Proficiency's really not that big of a deal. As for skills, I gave her, of course, acrobatics and athletics. As a matter of her backgrounds and such, she automatically has animal handling, but you can use that for a little bit of flavor tool, for a little bit of flavor text. And also survival, which, she goes in really quickly, then she can go into dangerous situations, be able to survive with them, and come out with important information. So that's a little nice thing to have. So yeah, there you go. There's your skills. Equipment, of course, dagger, finesse weapon. Rapier, again, finesse weapon. Proficient in both of them. Laser pistol for the sidearm. And of course, also gave her the Chaos Fuser so that she can use it to transform and be able to cast spells and summon her weapons and all that wonderful kind of stuff. Magic spells, she doesn't have a lot of slots available, but she does have, some there ready to go. So let's just take a look. We got 4 cantrips. I'll get into more detail with what some of these do later. Blade Ward, Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, and True Strike are the cantrips. For first level spells, I gave her Expeditious Retreat, of course, Mage Armor, of course, Shield, and Thunder Wave. Alright. 3 second level spells. Yeah, 3 second level spells that I gave her. Invisibility, Magic Weapon, and let's see, what's the other one? Misty Step. That one's a very important one, and we'll get in touch with that later. Alright, 3 and the 3 level 3 spells. Blink, Lightning Bolt, and Protection from Energy. And again, I'll get in a little more detail as to what those do. So let's look at the character sheet proper and some of things. Speed, 30 feet, very, very fast character, and you know, she can get up and still bolt 25 feet from a prone position because of prior feats. Armor class, 16. Base armor class tends to be 10 plus con plus dex. So that's where the 16 comes from. But actually that armor class is effectively going to be much higher than that because of mage armor. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. Strength, pretty good. +2 there. Saving throws, largely invested in intelligence and wisdom, but dexterity is also a really great saving throw in and of itself. +11 to acrobatics, +8 to athletics, and +11 to stealth. That's all good. Hit points kind of low, 86. That's mostly because we don't have the 2 additional hit points per dice that the paladin class had, that Ellen had. But you know, 86 with her armor class is more than enough. And of course, passive investigation, passive perception are both 18s. Passive insight's pretty good, 13 as well. So there you go. Let's look at those attack bonuses. +11 across the board. Now with 5e ACs being lower than what you might have experienced, especially at higher levels in D&D 4e and such, this is actually a really, really great attack bonus, because it means even if you roll around average, you're still, you know, hitting 20, you're still rolling 21 or better. And aside from the highest monsters, an AC 21 is gonna hit. So you're gonna be going in there, hitting and getting out. And because of all the various different feats she has, she's going to be doing quite a bit of damage, as we'll see in detail here a little bit later. Of course, her weapons, her dagger, her laser pistol, sidearm, her rapier, and her unarmed strike. As I mentioned in the last video, you might check with your DM and see if you can adjust the damage on the laser pistol so it's not always the 3d6. Alright, features and traits. Let's go over some of these. Because she is part rogue, she does have a sneak attack, which means if she has advantage against a creature, then she gets an additional 4d6 bits of damage with the amount of levels in rogue that she has. What that means is, say she's going in and sneaking in on a person and attacks them with her rapier, which is, you know, 1d8 plus 5. That's base 13 damage. And then she uses the sneak attack. That's maximum 13 damage, rather. And she uses her sneak attack. that's another 24 points of damage. So you have 38 maximum points of damage that you can do on one target. And then let's say you roll a critical hit and you double the damage on your rapier. So that's, assuming max damage, that's another possible 13 points of damage you can do. That's 51 points of damage that you can do. Wait, no. That's 50 points of damage, rather. Sorry, it was supposed to be 37, not 38. 51 points of damage. 50 points of damage that you can do in one attack on a creature. And even at the highest levels, you know, that's a lot of their hit points being taken out in one strike. That, you know, some monsters you can take out, like, you can either take out half of their hit points in one strike, or just outright kill them, if not overkill them. So that's good. Because she is a thief, she has second story work, which means that, again, climbing doesn't cost any extra movement, and you get an additional +5 to your running jump distance, be it either over or up. Uncanny dodge and evasion. These are really good feats to have as part of the thief, and especially for the scout archetype, because it minimizes the amount of damage that you can take when you use a reaction or when you make a dex save for half damage. So that not only can you get in there and get a lot of hits in, you can avoid a lot of hits and be able to stay in there and do more damage. Looking at the spell slots, again, we don't have any spell slots above 3rd level. But we do have really, really great spell save DC. They have to make a 17. So, yeah, they have to, whatever bonus they have, you know, 17. They're going to be hard-pressed to save from that. And a +9 spell attack bonus. Not as great as their physical attacks, but still pretty good attack bonus. And last but not least, let's look at some of the key spells. Alright, now, I mentioned earlier how Reading Lips synergizes with one of her spells. That spell is Blink. What it is basically using your own personal ghost as a spy. Because you roll a d20 at the end of each turn. At 11 or higher, you vanish onto an ethereal plane. And from that ethereal plane, you can see and hear things that are going on in the main plane up to 60 feet away. So, say you're 60 feet away from a couple bad guys who are having a conference about what's going on. And you can tell they're really tough, so you don't want to really get in there. You can use this spell to blink onto the ethereal plane, listen in on their conversation, or, given previous feats that we used, read their lips, figure out what they're saying, what they're planning, and then come back and tell your friends so that you can screw up their plans. DMs will hate you for that, but it is a thing you can do. Expeditious Retreat, it's a concentration spell, which means you have to focus in on it, and you can't use any other concentration spells while you're trying to use it. It basically gives you an additional bonus action that you can use to get the hell out. Invisibility, another concentration spell. Any creature you touch, which you could include yourself, becomes invisible until the spell ends, or until you attack or cast another spell. And since it is a 2nd level spell, you can cast it with one of your 3rd level spots, and then bring someone with you. So, you can have 2 people, go in, get on the other side, suddenly attack and pop right up in front of them, surprising them. You both have advantage. Enjoy slaughtering that monster. Fun. I love D&D. Lightning Bolt. I decided to make her kind of the more lightning elemental because, well, speed. Lightning Bolt goes out in a 100-foot line in front of you, 5 feet wide, 100 feet out, and all creatures on that line take 8d6 lightning damage. Possible 48 damage if you roll maximum on all of those, not accounting for vulnerabilities. They can make a dex save for half, so they can take, a maximum of 24 if they do make their dex save. But otherwise, yeah, crispy critters. Mage armor. I kind of teased this earlier. Since these builds are based around mage armor, Miss Nayoung has a base AC as it is of 16, which is really good. But when you activate mage armor, which for the transformation sequence part you would, then her base AC becomes 13 plus Dex mod. Since Dex mod is 5, that makes her base AC 18. Now, we look further down and add in shield. If you cast shield on yourself as well, you get another plus 5 to AC and immunity to magic missiles. So basically, you have made your AC 23. Nice, huh? Minor illusion, that's a spell that can be used to kind of trick people, get them misdirected, so that you can get in and deal your sneak attack damage. Magic weapon, of course, that's to boost the power of your rapier and your daggers. Misty Step, Eladrin have this by default if you created Eladrin, but I gave it to her as a spell because, well, it fit the scout archetype. You can teleport up to 30 feet to a space you can see. So if you're in a tight spot, look out at a space 30 feet away, and then teleport. Okay. Thunder Wave, there were really a lot of lightning spells that I could give to her, so I did also give Thunder capability. What this does is every creature in a 15-foot cube radiating out from you not only takes 2d8 thunder damage, but is also pushed away. You can make a con save on that for no push and half damage. But any unsecured objects are also automatically pushed. So, alright, and of course, True Strike. This is a spell that you want to have if you have a rogue and you're taking some kind of spellcasting class, whether it's Arcane Trickster or whether you're multi-classing into Wizard or something. You want to have True Strike. The reason for this is, it is a concentration spell that lasts 1 round. And then on your next turn, your next attack, you gain advantage on the first attack roll, which means you're guaranteed of getting your sneak attack damage in at least once. Nice, huh? Means you really can get in and do a lot of damage. So that's it. That's the Scout archetype. I do have 3 more for the main team. I may also try and work something up for a 6th Ranger as well. And I am starting to come up with ones to go out once this little sub-series is over. So I'm going to, in the description below, I am going to give the hashtags for the next 3 Tokusatsu builds. And I would like you to vote to see which one you want to go next. Please vote. You've got 2 weeks to vote on this, and I want your feedback, and I want to know what you want to see next. So it's going to be hashtag Brawler, hashtag Ranger, and hashtag Techie. Send them in the comments. Put them on the Facebook page. I'll count those as well. Or follow me on Twitter at Shadowbird712 and send me the hashtags over there. I'll keep track of them. And in 2 weeks, you'll have hopefully decided the next one. Otherwise, the fate of this show will be in my hands again. God help us all. So, until next time, I'm Jeremy. This has been Fun 5e Builds. Keep it casual, y'all.